At this time, I'm going to turn over to my colleague Janelle from ICCB.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Janelle Washington, Director for Career and Technical Education at the Illinois Community College Board. I'd like to welcome everyone to today's Model Programs and Study Guides webinar as we learn more about the Finance and Business Services Guide. I actually had the pleasure of serving on the advisory committee for this guide as a representative of ICCB. I was very new to my role back then, and it was my first experience ever on an advisory committee. But what I really appreciated was the process, the engagement of the experts in finance and business services, and seeing firsthand the careful thought and consideration that goes into creating these guides to ensure that they truly are exemplars to help guide the program of study development and improvement at the local level. So I'd like to thank our partners at EdSystems for continuing to lead the model programs of study work here in Illinois, and for really doing great work around this. I encourage everyone to reach out to EdSystems with any questions. If you are trying to figure out how you can incorporate these guides in your own work, they're happy to assist. Additionally, EdSystems has a wealth of other resources available on their website, lots of professional development opportunities. So if you haven't checked these out, highly encourage you to do so. And with that, thanks again. Happy that everyone's able to join us here today. And I'll turn it back over so we can get into the guide.
Thank you so much for that. Welcome, Janelle. We really appreciate it. So who are we? So my name is Megan Mitchell, and I am the Pathway Manager at EdSystems. And I turn over to my colleague, Juan Jose, to introduce himself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Juan Jose Gonzalez. I'm the Pathways Director from Education Systems Center. Thank you.
EdSystems Center. So our mission is to shape and strengthen educational workforce systems to advance racial equity and provide or prepare more young people for productive careers and lives in the global economy. And so we do that through college and career pathways, bridges to post-secondary, and data impact and leadership. And so a couple of things that's important to note is that our work is statewide. We have various community networks that we engage in this work, and we do our best to be extremely innovative and forward-thinking in many of our projects and concepts. So now we're gonna give a background of our model programs of study. So why do we develop these? So our primary purpose is to provide guidance for local programs to adopt or customize programs of study as a part of the Perkins 5 plan. And so something that's important is that we identify priority dual credit and early college courses that are foundational to an industry area, but also suitable for like a statewide scaling and articulation. We also define competencies that should be sequenced across programs of study course sequence that prepare students for particular industries. Lastly, we identify points for employers to support coursework and related experiences. And so our intended audience are high school faculty and administrators who work within Pathways. We also highly encourage community college faculty and staff. That includes academic deans, department heads, early college liaisons, et cetera. And then of course, our education for employment system directors. And just to plug, our next model program of study will be scheduled for April the 19th, and we'll take a deep dive into arts and communication sector. And so statewide model program of study. And so one thing I think that is important for us to note is that a really good pathway includes all the things that you see in the light shaded bullets to the left. And so that includes individualized planning, career-focused instruction, work-based learning, and core academics. And so core academics include English, math, science, and social science. And so these pathways should also take a student to and through secondary, through post-secondary, and even into like associate's degree or bachelor's degree. And so they move a student from stackable credentials to an AA or bachelor's and beyond. That also includes various levels of jobs and skills that they will acquire along the way. And so the outcome of that is credential attainment and also labor market and economic development. And so one thing you'll see is that little badge there. And so all of these things encompass what we consider a pathway endorsement. And so a pathway endorsement is something that a student can earn while they're in high school that kind of says that this student is prepared for life and also for college. We're going to talk about that a little bit here as well. And so again, you see here the individual planning, professional learning, and then the career focused instruction sequence. So I want us to take a moment to focus on that career focused instructional sequence. And so one thing that our college and career pathway endorsement does is it encourages students to take at least 2 or more years of career focused courses. And we encourage students to do at least 6 credit hours of early college. And so this will prepare students for community college and even work life beyond that as well. And so here is a list of many of the policies that our work align with. And so you'll see here, of course, the Post-Secondary and Workforce Readiness Act, our Dual Credits Act, ESSA, et cetera. And so here I want to talk a little bit about what our state policy framework is and how we prepare students for a career in life. And so you see that pyramid is definitely symbolic for that process. So our first step here is to make sure that students have foundational skills for all careers and that students are generally receiving employability skills and entrepreneurial skills that are embedded in the high school experience. We want to make sure that our students are familiar with work-based learning setting and also a robust experience in problem-solving based learning. And so we move on to number 2. And so we'll make sure that our programs accelerate students towards a career area. And so that includes multiple years of coursework, increasing commitment into the field with an emphasis on early college coursework and career-focused subjects. Again, we want to make sure that this work goes beyond traditional high school CTE industry credentials, but include supplemental or complementary general education courses. And so this is important because we want to make sure that our students are academically ready for college. And so we require success in college level career focused courses and electives. And then we require placement in college level courses like math and English. And it's also like a collaboration through our local community colleges. And so what you see here is a list of guides that we have completed in 2020 and also 2021. And there are a few that will come out in 2022 of this year in hospitality, culinary hospitality, and also human and public services. You can find this information at our website here. And so the role of our advisory committee. And so you heard our colleague Janelle say that she was a part of that process. And so the role of that committee is to provide expertise and guidance, right? We want them to give us feedback on what are the trends in the industry, right? And also, are those trends reflecting current labor market information? What credentials or degrees are emerging as most promising in the field, right? How does our desk research relate to on-the-ground implementation? And then lastly, what does the future work look like in this particular sector? And so some key decision points that our advisory committee support us on is creating a pathway map for a sequence of courses, strategically selecting early college credit courses, and then of course, identifying those key competencies that build from existing states' technical competencies as well. So our mapping process. So you see here, these are all of the steps that we take to map out what our guides will look like. And so it's generally a 6-month process. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how we determine promising credentials and map towards stackable degree certificates, and how we identify high priority occupations. So identifying high priority occupations and promising credentials. So we use the labor market data and the MIT living wage calculator for the state of Illinois as a reference. And so we identify a high priority occupation as an occupation with positive growth and outlook in our state, but also the salaries that are near or greater than the living wage plus one adult and a child in Illinois. And so a promising credential is a degree or a credential or a certification that immediately prepares an individual for entry into a high priority occupation. And so we focus these credentials on the availability of a typical community college. And so these credentials may also be a clear precursor or stackable credential for a high priority occupation. So what does that mean? So we always give the example of like a CNA. And so a CNA role may not have meet our threshold for living wage. However, it's stackable to a nursing degree, therefore making it eligible to be a high priority occupation and a promising credential. And so what you see here is a bit of our desk research, but this includes our work in researching various occupations. And so you'll see here a list of occupations to the left, and at the top of this table, you'll see the average salary. We ask the question of, is there growth for this role? Does it meet our salary credential? And then you'll see the typical education for the occupation, annual job openings in the state, and also the percentage growth. And so what you see highlighted or dotted in green are those careers or occupations that we say yes to, right? Like this meets our threshold for growth and for the wage threshold in our state. Those that are highlighted in yellow, we still have questions about, right? Like we look at those as important occupations, but we like to have more dialogue on what these occupations are, what they mean, and if they lead or if they're stackable to more high earning occupations. And then the ones that are not highlighted are those that did not meet our threshold. And so what you see here is how we map and different occupations that lead to different particular careers. And so you'll see guided transfer, you'll see business AAS with specialty certificates, supply chain accounting, and then directly across from that, you'll see various occupations that directly are related to those particular credentials or degree certifications. And then you'll see that we have little arrows there or asterisks. And so the purple asterisk means that those particular degrees are stackable to other degrees or credentials. And then the asterisks mean that they align with ISB CTE program of study matrix. Now we're going to move forward and talk about how we identify strategic community college courses. And so we take a sample of many institutions throughout the state. And so in our desk research, our desk analysis, we analyze promising credential programs by creating a full list of the career focus and general education courses within each program, and then we tally and label them. And so we tally and label them by those that appear most frequently across the targeted programs and those that are more likely to be accessible for dual credit. And then lastly, those that have the potential for transferability and currency throughout the Illinois Articulation Agreement initiative, or they have a particular industry credential for that course. And so here is like a snapshot of what that work looks like. And so it's literally downloaded into a huge spreadsheet. And then you'll see how we tally all of the programs at the top of the chart. And then to the left, you'll see all of the particular courses there as well. And so this is just a up close view of what you just saw, because we know that could be a little bit difficult to see. Now we're going to move forward and talk about how we map secondary to post-secondary. And so one thing that we recommend is that high school students leave college with at least 6 or more career-focused credits. We like to keep open the possibility for unique opportunities like work-based learning or capstone courses. And then also we consider faculty and teacher credentials, as well as course delivery and approval process. I know one thing that's been a plus about moving virtual in this space and era of COVID is that there are more opportunities for teachers and professors to teach online. And so that gives students a variety of access to these courses, which has been really nice. And then again, we want to make sure that these courses and sequences continue to accelerate a student to and through the process. And then lastly, we recommend a sequence and general education subject areas that include early college and AP supplements. Now we're going to talk about how we define technical competencies. So we review and define related technical competencies for key courses. And so these key courses map to particular credentials within a particular industry area. They can be easily accessed for early college credit at the secondary level and are not currently recognized by the Articulation Initiative. And so how we do that is we look at the course syllabi and we thoroughly review it among various faculty and staff, and we pull out the key competencies that are important that we want students to learn, and then we list those objectives. So now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Juan Jose, to review the Finance and Business Services Guide.
Thank you, Megan. I really appreciate that. So what you're seeing here on your screen, and you had a kind of a preview of this in some of the previous slides about how the process led to this guide. This is kind of the final visualization of our model programs of study for finance and business. You're seeing here on your screen. I'm going to walk through parts of this guide and talk about kind of some of the reasoning and the advice and counsel of our advisory committee and how that's led to this ultimate kind of visualization that you see on your screen. We also want to remind you all that on our model programs of study webpage, we have a detailed 20-page guide itself, not just the visualizations, that explains our reasoning, explains our analysis, and offers some kind of technical recommendations on the implementation of the model programs of study in your region. Next slide. So the key thing, obviously, when talking about finance and business, the jobs and opportunities are actually going to be vast and enormous, right? So, you know, any particular occupation, any particular sub-occupation, or within a department of an industry is going to have some general finance and business technical skills offered. So we had to first limit, and first thing we did was kind of limit our occupations to those that were closely aligned to certain kind of community college and bachelor's degree programs, right? So that included things like accounting, supply chain. We included supply chain kind of industries and occupations into our model programs of study. And of course, there was general business and guided transfer degrees. You see here kind of the occupations that we really highlighted and focused on, things as accountants, actuaries, business analysts, human resources, market research, and things of that nature. We also included analyses of supervisory roles and kind of transportation, distribution, logistics, clerks and payroll clerks and things of that nature. Most occupations in finance and business services had significant wages that they met our thresholds and our criteria for kind of high priority occupations that were growing or had kind of sufficient wage opportunities. And in the cases that they didn't, like human resource assistant or payroll clerks, those occupations were deemed stepping stone enough to higher earning accounting occupations as well, that we decided to include these occupations in our model programs of study tables and visualization. Next slide. Here was like one of the big things that we really focused on for our advisory committee, right? What is the career and academic trajectory of a student at the post-secondary space? So the first thing that we noticed is that many occupations and some of the higher earning ones were typically requiring a bachelor's degree level of education. So students were really encouraged and really motivated to go through a guided transfer opportunity, right? That included an associates of arts, an accounting of arts, or actuarial of arts. Associate's degree would then transfer to a bachelor's degree at one of our four-year institutions in our state. There were many associates of applied science offered in almost every community college with subspecializations as well. Those specializations include things like entrepreneurship, hospitality, human resources, insurance, so on and so forth, right? In many cases, some of the core courses and some of the core components of an associates of applied science in business overlap somewhat with the associates of arts, and both of those kind of typically trended or were capable towards transferability to our bachelor's degree program. And this was a similar practice that we saw in some supply chain and accounting associates of applied science degrees. Some of those core components and core courses had a high level of transferability and students were encouraged to go in that direction, but there also could be endpoints into themselves and get students some entry level occupations. I want to make a note here that one thing that our advisory committee did kind of emphasize is there's a lot of kind of industry credentials in this space that someone could earn, but are not essential or required in order to earn an occupation, right? So some of those credentials include certifications around kind of Excel, QuickBooks, Tableau, the Association for Supply Chain Management. Those are nice to have for people, and many times those credentials or certifications are embedded in a lot of the coursework and experiences of student academic trajectories, but they're not necessarily always the requirement. General employers are going to be really focused on the technical competencies and the skills of an individual, and those are going to really come out through the interview and kind of employment selection process as well. We also want to note that in the accounting space, there were many community college programs. Some of our advisory committees members coming from accounting in community college. We're talking about how many people were career changers in accounting, right? Having a bachelor's degree and some other certification or some other industry, and then getting an accounting certificate or AAS at the community college so they can re-enter that space and solidify their trajectory in that industry. Next slide. What you're seeing here on your screen now is kind of our model program, secondary to first year post-secondary course sequence recommendations, right? And I'll start with the career focused coursework. On the top left of your screen, you'll see kind of and we recommend highly that people start their programs of study with an introduction to business and or the computer applications for business. Let me specify what kind of courses those are. Intro to Business is both a high school level CT course that fulfills some of the requirements for CT occupations, and also the introductory course for many community colleges. And we highly recommend that people implementing this model program of study combine those two courses and offer it as dual credit, fulfilling both CT credit and dual credit opportunities for students starting this program of study. The computer applications for business course is an Illinois Articulation Initiative course with high levels of transferability in business as well. And we recommend that students kind of take that course for dual credit. one of our strong recommendations for both these courses is that typically in many community colleges, the eligibility requirements for high school level students were low, making those courses relatively accessible for dual credit, dual enrollment, or early college implementation as well. In the skill development phase, we really encourage students to move into this one course called entrepreneurship, which could be offered for dual credit and offered in most community colleges as well, or a 100 level accounting course called intro accounting, also for dual credit. Both of these courses have high school equivalents that are commonly used and practiced throughout the state of Illinois. Intro to accounting has a CTE course code and equivalent as well. And entrepreneurship is actually being practiced a lot in our state through innovative programs such as Incubator or the Midland Institute's kind of CEO program. Many high schools and people in our advisory committee talked about kind of implementing some sort of entrepreneurship course with like a Shark Tank style initiative or program affiliated with the course, where students were kind of doing case studies and kind of proposing their own startup businesses as well. We really recommend this course and this phase of the program of study because it had attended towards drawing in students into the area of business, really kind of flowering their creative minds. And we really thought that this was a really great opportunity to combine early college credit with high student level interest and kind of robust academic settings. Lastly, at the capstone space. The course at the top here for business, finance, and accounting, we highly recommend, if student is capable and if the school is able to offer it, the course called financial accounting. The simple reality of our program of study research and participation found that any student, whether they want to get an Associate of Applied Science, an Associates of Arts, a bachelor's degree in finance, business, accounting, or anything related, was going to have to go through this course called financial accounting. It is offered at every community college and offered at every four-year university in the state, and is linked to the Illinois Articulation Initiative course. Typically, though, this course is difficult to access for high school level students. It requires a high math, college level math eligibility, or maybe even in some cases having passed already college algebra. And in some cases, students are also going to need college level English to access this course. So, and moreover, implementing this course on the high school side is also difficult because finding a teacher eligible to teach this course for dual credit is not easy, typically requiring a master's in business administration or related kind of coursework. So, in our programs of study narrative, we did indicate that if this course can be offered either through hybrid or remote options, where students are learning directly from college level professors, or dual enrollment, where they're commuting to a campus, we really recommend and kind of encourage those opportunities, and understanding that the population of students at a particular high school that are eligible for this course are going to be few and limited because of the high student eligibility requirements. Alternatively, we also wanted to offer opportunities and courses that typical students or everyday students can access and fulfill as a part of either the CTE requirements or as a general interest in the business sector. And those courses are kind of here in the magenta-like color: Intro to Management, Intro to Marketing, or Business Law. All three of those courses are 100 level courses typically offered at a community college. We recommend offering them for dual credit. They're more relatively easy to implement for a high school, and the student eligibility requirements are much more accessible for earning that early college credit as well. Once a student transitions into the post-secondary space, if they already completed financial accounting, they should continue that sequence of courses with courses like managerial accounting, taking intro-level ethics, or continuing their Associates of Arts or their Associates of Applied Science sequence. And for other students who have not taken financial accounting, they should really try to tackle that course as soon as possible. It is so central and so kind of valuable to their business experience that preparing students to either take that by senior year or the first year of college is really setting them up for success. Next slide, please. What you're seeing here now on your screen is kind of some of our course recommendations for the non-career focused general education courses, right? So in science, we recommend students go along their typical science sequence, right? Take biology, take chemistry, meet your high school graduation requirements. We did have a particular focus in this case around social science, and I think we're missing some courses here, Megan. In social science, we did make recommendations around not only psychology, we also highly recommended microeconomics that students take, I think this slide is around the health science model program of study, but for those folks who were kind of progressing in this space, we really wanted to recommend for our social science, the students take micro or macroeconomics, either as dual credit options or as AP courses that are much more accessible and typically offered in most community college, in most high school settings, right? Those microeconomics and macroeconomics AP courses have a high level of kind of placement at community college and they transfer credit, but also placement and transferability for the four-year universities in our state and are integral to most kind of degrees in finance and business as well. For those students who are capable of doing so in the model program of study and in the sequence in business, if they can take college algebra or higher, like calculus and pre-calculus, by their junior and senior year, we highly encourage that for students pursuing a degree and opportunities in business, or they should at least culminate with a transitional math placement into quantitative literacy and statistics and/or STEM as well. Next slide. In the model programs of study, we also kind of found two courses that we wanted to develop competencies for in hopes that many community colleges and high schools across the state align their course syllabi, align their course learning objectives to these competencies. These two courses that we're suggesting here are not already part of the Illinois Articulation Initiative. They don't have inherent transferability. So creating a common set of competencies for these courses that high schools and community colleges can benchmark to was something that we really wanted to tackle. And for the first of these courses, it was Intro to Business, right? A common course in high school settings, community colleges. There are certain key kind of themes in an Intro to Business course that we wanted to highlight that we gathered from multiple syllabi across the state at the high school and community college setting. So you see here some of the competencies for Intro to Business. And if you're implementing some of these courses in your region, we highly recommend you look at these competencies for your course alignment as well. And the next course that we really drew up competencies for was this course, Entrepreneurship. Typically, community college called Intro to Entrepreneurship or Entrepreneurship 101. There's certain kind of key competencies to the course that we wanted to highlight in terms of business fundamentals, business planning, the entrepreneur's role among society, and a big emphasis on market research and implementation of strategy. These are competencies that we gathered from syllabi from CTE courses, community college courses, but also from those courses in the CEO Incubator Program, the CEO Midland Institute, and the Incubator Program as well. So we really combine a lot of competencies and kind of practices from many spaces into one unique opportunity with these dual credit course competencies as well. Now I want to turn it over to some of our colleagues at District 211 who are implementing kind of finance and business pathways with some innovative work. And I want to kick it over to you, Michelle, and let you, I was introduced, you and Patty introduce yourself and take it from there.
Well, hello, everybody, and thanks for having us. We're really excited to share with you our business program at District 211. I'm Michelle Napier, and I'm the Director of College and Career Readiness.
Hi, I'm Patty Ertl. I am the district chair and a business teacher in District 211.
So District 211, for those of you who are not familiar with us, we are located in the northwest suburbs. We have 7 schools, 5 main high schools and 2 alternative schools, and we service just about 12,000 students. We have over 270 courses. We have an extensive summer school program. We have 34 AP courses that we offer, and then we currently have 66 dual credit courses. We partner primarily with Harper College, who is our feeder junior college in our area, but we also have a relationship with Triton, College of DuPage, University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, and University of Iowa.
All right, in District 211 business education, in our 5 high schools, these are the courses that we offer our students. We have divided it into 3 basic categories, yet kids cross over these categories all the time. We've marked the courses with asterisks that offer dual credit with our primary junior college, Harper College. So our technology courses that we offer, we call college prep in the middle, and then career prep classes on the right-hand side.
So many years ago, we really started talking about career clusters. And so some of our pathway work had started even ahead of this. And we started to have conversations with students and working closely with Harper on how can we have students take coursework that will prepare them for their future. And also looking to embed any certifications that for students who may not think college is their first step, that they may have some skill sets that will get them ready right out of high school. And so you'll see many of these courses that are listed in our dual credit partnership with Harper on this slide are many of the courses that Juan Jose has already talked about as a foundation for the finance and business pathway. And so you can see that we have 5 dual credit courses, and many of our freshmen right out of the gate will come in and take technology applications. And that will be their precursor and their introduction into our business program. And then we hope to evolve from there and start adding additional coursework, just depending on what their interests are, and getting them prepared for a pathway in the business and finance. We added some additional pathway courses, and really these are supported courses that in the event they attend Harper or any four-year university, they're going to need some additional coursework, and these are also dual credit. And so when you look at making a transferability selection of courses at Harper, these will already embed and are required as part of like a business degree to move forward. And then in terms of the college and career readiness indicators for math and English, outside of the SAT and some coursework that align with that, we have worked very closely with Harper and creating transitional math and English. And we've been doing that for several years and formalized English this year with the state. But our students have an opportunity, if maybe they're not the best test takers or they really didn't plan ahead, that we can get them college and ready in terms of English and math through that program. We offer certifications. 2 that we really highlight with our students are the Microsoft Excel and QuickBooks, and Patty will talk a little bit more about that as we move forward. And as we start to plan and to apply for the pathways in the state, we wanted to make sure that our students didn't miss out and had the team-based challenges embedded into our coursework. And so we intentionally selected our dual credit courses, knowing that that will put them in the pathway and that they will have the team-based challenges embedded in there. And we've already started the conversation too of, well, maybe it's just not this course. We know that they all have to take the intro to business, and let's get them early and know, yep, we can say that they had some team-based challenge early on. But at this point, we really focused them in the courses that are listed there.
Michelle, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
For the team-based challenge that you have in the course of technology applications, did you do that in conjunction with your community college partner, or is like kind of an added bonus to the course? I think for at the community college level, many of our partners are having to implement team-based challenges along their program of study in conjunction with high school. So any insight that you can offer to that is super helpful as well.
I can speak to that one, Michelle. In technology applications, we created a team-based challenge that was really a natural fit with the course objectives. And the course is already set up to receive dual credit with our community college. But it is a team-based challenge that incorporates all the critical learning standards of that course, which is Microsoft Office productivity software, and presenting it to an outside professional.
Do you know if like, but it would be theoretically possible for that team-based challenge to be taken from your high school level implementation, and the college could even implement it at their kind of level of coursework as well, it seems like that.
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
We work closely with Harper, and we have advisory panels. So not only with District 211, but 214 and 220. And so these conversations are had amongst all of our districts to, you know, we have a continuation of an alliance.
Great, thank you, appreciate that.
And then last on there is career exploration. And, you know, it starts with our students early on meeting with their school counselor and creating their individualized plan and really, you know, working hard to say, where do you see yourself long-term, in being very intentional on course selection so they don't miss out. We also have career advisors in each of our building, and they offer career exploration opportunities and partner with our student service department, but also with our industry and community partners, offering job shadowing, internships, guest speakers, really very intense field trips that they are at on site working with industry professionals, and then resume buildings and even just general career exploration. So they're an amazing resource for us in each of our buildings. And then we also have our Business Professional of America, which is very active in our district. We have well over 500 students across our 5 buildings, and many of them participate at the state level and even at nationals, and typically place very well. And which is nice about Business Professionals of America, that during that time, our students have an opportunity to also earn certifications that maybe necessarily aren't offered within the school, but have the opportunity to sit for those as well. So here's just a very easy sample plan from Harper College, just to kind of show the courses that we offer at District 211 and the alignment that is offered right to Harper and then even further. And so, you know, a student that's interested in business administration can take our management course. We have the English composition, Math 134. So you can see right there, those 3 courses will get them through the first semester. Juan Jose mentioned, and I didn't put this in our previous slide, but obviously in the social sciences, macro and microeconomics are huge. And, you know, for a student to do well and be able to bring that along with them, you know, especially for a student that's not necessarily minded that way, but want to be, you know, a business major, it's a nice course to bring forward with them. So this is just to show you and highlight the courses that are embedded into our curriculum, also can carry forward into Harper and on.
Do you guys, Michelle, do you guys implement financial accounting at your districts, schools, accounting
Yes.
101? Yeah.
Yes.
And how are you able to are you implementing that through a high school teacher being certified, or you have a unique arrangement, or how's that course going?
Yeah, I don't want to jump too far ahead.
Okay, great.
To our next
Sorry.
slide, but that is definitely an area for us to continue to focus on and develop, because like you said, some of the struggle, because it's a CTE area, right? We're bringing people typically with some business experience coming in, and now are going to be teaching. And so they don't necessarily have the advanced degree initially coming to us. And so to earn that MBA or to get that CPA, you know, is very different than, you know, an English teacher going to get the English, you know, master's in English, because that's what we've always done. So it's a mind shift change, and the expense associated with an MBA, for example, is very different. So, you know, yes, we are lucky right now that we do have some of our teachers that are credentialed to teach that, but, you know, as Patty's going to go through, it's not in all the schools.
Right. So I'm going to start with continue with that. That's probably one of our biggest challenges. We do have financial accounting, and we do offer it for dual credit. However, we only receive accounting 100 credit for it. And, you know, it's disappointing to us, but the credentialing requirements of our community college, they want our teachers to have a CPA. And that is very challenging. Also, along with teacher credentialing, we have quite a few teachers across our 5 schools who are credentialed, but we still have some holes within each of our schools where we need some of our future teachers or some of our newer teachers to get on that pathway to get credentialed, so we can continue offering dual credit experiences for our students in technology applications, accounting 1, financial, entrepreneurship, management, and QuickBooks. So definitely a challenge. Over on the left-hand side, another challenge that we find within our district is we offer so many different AP courses, and we know that there are kids who already know that they're going to major in business, or that's what they want to do. Yet they still want to build their high school resume with, you know, very rigorous courses and a lot of AP courses. that they may choose instead of a business class because there is no AP business course in our curriculum. AP accounting has been something that the College Board has been working on for over a decade, but it has not come to fruition. But that is definitely one of our biggest challenges because we do offer a very robust, comprehensive curriculum to our students, and there's so much choice involved. And we do hear from our students and counselors that oftentimes they will go with an AP course. Another challenge, we've talked about certifications. There are lots of certifications out there, but we find them to be very cost prohibitive. And the only ones we really feel comfortable really recommending to our kids would be Microsoft Excel and QuickBooks. And the QuickBooks one is kind of a natural one with our QuickBooks class. The Excel one, through our technology applications to a credit class, we feel comfortable recommending to our students, but yet it's $100, $90 to $100 out of pocket for every student, which for many of our kids can be cost prohibitive. And knowing that, they could be getting the certification at the age of 15. And then by the time they graduate, there's going to be new versions of Excel. And certainly it shows capacity and willingness to learn a skill. But sometimes, it's hard to recommend that. However, as Michelle said, one of the things that's on the better side of the cost of certifications is that we have such a robust Business Professionals of America organization throughout our district that kids can also take certifications through BPA at the national level at a much more affordable rate. Awareness and communication. I think Michelle mentioned this too, but we are definitely working on a mind shift with all of our stakeholders. The shift from preparing all kids for college to preparing kids for college and career readiness. And, like I said, this is something that we're doing in our community with our parents, our teachers, our counselors, and our kids. And we're still working on that mind shift. Formalizing work-based learning is also a challenge. We have so many courses, so many choices for our kids, and finding an opportunity to embed work-based learning in our courses proves to be challenging. We did something last summer with Harper College, and we did have some kids take advantage of it during the summer. But working with Michelle and our partners, trying to figure out what we can do during the school day and embed it within our courses is a challenge we're working on as well. We currently do have this year 550 students taking business education dual credit classes across our 5 buildings. So we have a great number that we are working with. Continuing with some of the things that are going well, or if we want to continue going well, those industry certifications, Excel and QuickBooks. And then again, mentioning through BPA, we have so many kids who regularly qualify for nationals where they offer certifications for about $5 a piece that normally would cost $100. So we've been really pleased that so many of our kids are in this organization, make it to nationals, and we really encourage them to take advantage of the certification opportunities. And they do, they come back, they tell us, and it's beyond Microsoft Office, but Adobe, and then they also have some newer ones that we've seen starting to pop up, which is an excellent resume builder and for them to put on their LinkedIn profiles while they're still a student in high school. Another success for District 211 is our strong community partnerships. We have great support from business partners, local entrepreneurs, from our community. And a lot of that stems from our business incubator program, which we are in our, I think, 5th year. We had a lot of help building these partnerships and have continued to maintain and grow because of this business incubator program that we have. Moving down to our dual credit partnership with Harper College. They are our primary partner, and we are in constant communication with Harper College. And not only with Harper College, but we also are part of the Northwest Education Council for Success, which partners us with District 220, which is Barrington, and 214, which is Hersey High School, Rolling Meadows, Elk Grove, and several others. So even though business education is a relatively small department in District 211, we have partners beyond our district that we are in communication with, and it has proved to be very helpful along with Harper College. And then finally, we just like to share that we do have a cross-curricular course with family consumer sciences that we've had for almost 15 years in our district. And on the family and consumer science side, they're able to offer and embed within the course the work-based learning. So on their pathway, it's nice because it can lead to a strong pathway for them. And it is great because for students interested in the culinary arts with an entrepreneurial option, they can take this cross-curricular course plus get the dual credit on the FCS side.
So you can see we have many offerings, but there's still a lot of work to do to formalize this for sure. The first is the dual credit offerings, just working through some of the challenges and working, with Harper to offer dual credit courses that will help get our students to the capstone course. So for those students who are very determined and very clear on what their pathway is making sure that we have the resources to offer our students to move into that pathway. Along with that, just a natural is that teacher credential and just increasing the number of our teachers that are able to offer the dual credit programming and being able to bring those courses up to that next level. One of our big pushes is going to be to formalize those pathway endorsements and really be able to clearly communicate, not just for business and finance, but for all areas for students to be very clear on this is what this looks like early on. It's not too early to start talking about this. And for example, speech goes across so many of the pathways. So it's something like, okay, maybe I'm not sure that it's business, or maybe it's more in the medical field, but let's take a look at some of those similar courses that will overlap, that will, if I change by junior or senior year, there's still an option for me to work towards that. And we've got some coursework embedded. It starts with making sure it's easy to access, that teachers, counselors, students, parents are all aware of what those opportunities are and be able to promote that to our students and the families. So, I think anybody on this call that works in the schools understands, like, it's such a small piece sometimes, but it's so important to get that out there early. And last but certainly not least is just continue to build our advisories and our community partners. We really want to have a strong work-based learning internship opportunity for our students, and to not put the cart in front of the horses, but like really to make sure that we have our foundation set and then launch that into the next phase of what we're doing. So if anybody has any questions, we put our contact information on there. Again, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to learn from you too. If you think, oh, you know what, there's one little thing that we do that could make all the difference, we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Michelle and Patty. We definitely appreciate all of your hard work and your contribution to our presentation today. As Patty and Michelle said, their information is here. So if you wanted to reach out with any questions, thoughts, ideas, or any updates that you like to share about the work that they're doing, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much, Michelle and Patty. I really appreciate it. I know that you all are strapped for time. So if we receive questions, we will make sure that we get them to you as soon as possible. So thank you. All right, so if there are any questions that are still circling in your mind, thoughts and concepts that squares your thinking, or 1 to 3 takeaways that you all would like to share, please feel free to use this moment to do so. Again, thoughts or questions that are circling your mind, concepts that squares your thinking, or 1 to 3 takeaways. Again, if something comes to mind, feel free to email us and then we'll be able to address any thoughts or feedback that you may have. A couple of other updates is that we want to provide opportunity for you all to share your feedback. So if you have a cell phone, go ahead and use this and take a picture of our QR code and complete that survey because we want to know your thoughts. And so the survey questions include an assessment of the guide itself, and how you're implementing it. We want to know if you were on our advisory committee or if you want to join other advisory committees or be involved in the work that we're doing at EdSystems. Let us know. We take that information as well. And then we want to kind of get an understanding of your thoughts on this webinar. So those are the types of questions. Again, if you didn't get a picture, go ahead and snap your picture in front of that QR code and they'll take you directly to the link. Also note that this information will be emailed out to you because this is being recorded. And so you'll get a copy of the recording and also the slide deck itself. Another plug is that we have our upcoming webinar in arts and communications on April the 19th at 2:30. If you have not done so, please go ahead and register at our website. Again, our next 2 model program of studies that are up and coming and will be out probably late this year are going to be human and public services and also culinary hospitality. And so please keep a lookout for those guides as well. Another thing I want to mention too is our Illinois Work-Based Learning Innovation Network. This is an opportunity for you to gather insight, information, resources for work-based learning opportunities. And so this is a resource hub, and also you can sign up for a newsletter. So I encourage you to go to our website, look up IWIN, and I'll email this out to you as well because it is a great resource for you to engage. And so that concludes our webinar. We thank you all so much for your time. Again, we will see you on April the 19th, and you will receive all this information via email. You all have a wonderful day. I will hang back for a few moments just to address any questions that you all may have. But thank you so much.